Hey guys, this is Prateek Modi, founder of Modified Digital. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a 5-step marketing system that we use for running high ROI, high performance campaigns. In the last 5 years of running my marketing agency, we've spent close to 3.5 CR in marketing spends on Facebook and Google Ads. And running such a high volume of advertising spend, we've kind of developed this model which has worked consistently across multiple niches, industries, and categories. What is this 5-step model? That's what I'm going to be covering in this YouTube video. Step number 1 in this model is to understand your market movers. What is the core problem that consumers in your market are facing? Really understanding that is step number 1. And we see enough business owners making the mistake of assuming what that problem is. Now, how do you really identify what people are facing as a problem? You have to look at the keywords that they're searching on Google. What are the most common problems they're asking again and again and again? And there are plenty of tools like Google Trends, Answer the Public, or Quora, where you can mine for plenty of rich information. Another way to really identify problems is to look at social media and see what people are tweeting about or posting about in your space at any given point in time. Is your solution an answer to those problems? That is a question you need to ask. A third way of identifying market movers is to really spy deeply on your top competitors and seeing how they're positioning and selling their products in your category. A lot of times clients come to us and tell us, I don't have any competition, or there is no competitor who's doing this. That is a space one needs to be really careful about, because if there's no competition, that means there's no demand, and you have to play in a market where there's plenty of demand. Typically, we look for those pockets of consumers within an audience where there's plenty of action happening, where there's plenty of demand. A lot of brands are advertising, a lot of people are tweeting about or commenting on Facebook. That's a space which is hot, which has plenty of problems to solve. Step number 2, a really solid, deep understanding of the market you're operating in is absolutely critical for long-term success of your digital campaign. Crafting the brand message which fills up this gap. Once you have a good understanding, a deep understanding of your consumers' psychology, of the market problems that most people are facing, you can start building a brand which solves that problem. Your brand will then become the go-to brand for any consumer facing that problem, looking for an immediate solution. There's this analogy which we use a lot. Is your problem vitamin? Good to have? Or is it a painkiller? Absolute must to have. Become that painkiller and you become go-to solution for that particular problem. When you're building your brand strategy, the second step is to try and solve that problem almost 10 times better as the nearest competitor, or at least the perceived value must be so. If your solution is solving the problem, it must be 10 times more effective or 10 times less expensive. Only and only then will you really stand out in the marketplace and your advertising will run on fire. This positioning exercise will really help you craft the perfect headlines for your ads, will help you write copy on landing pages which is engaging, and creating videos which tend to capture the attention of your market like no other competitors will. It will help you craft marketing material which people will remember when they're scrolling through their Facebook or Instagram feeds. Without this background research, you will just be another Me Too brand. The third step is when you actually get into launching your first Facebook ad campaign or Google ad campaign. If you do step 1 and step 2 correctly, this probably is going to be the easiest part of the entire marketing system. Figuring out the technology piece, figuring out what ads to write, what copies to create is going to be very easy then. Here's a simple way of understanding how and when to use which platform to run your advertising on. Google is what you will use when you want to hit people at the bottom of your marketing funnel, when you want to reach people who are actively looking to buy from you. Facebook and Instagram is what you will use when you want to reach a mass audience who might or might not have heard of your particular solution, but they are fitting the general demographic. Their taste, their preferences, their likes and dislikes, you sort of understand and you can leverage on to position and sell your brand. Facebook and Instagram, because it's top of funnel, more broad, you will end up attracting less relevant people. It will be less expensive as well. On Google, it's a lot more laser targeted, hence a lot more expensive. Using a combination of both major channels is a good way to optimize your initial marketing spends on. And for most brands who are starting out, the first 3 to 6 months, there's plenty that you can do to run your marketing on these two channels. All three must come together in perfect harmony. The market's problem, a solution to the problem, and the messaging vehicle which you've derived, the communication which you've created to sell your offer to this particular market. When these three really come together, you start moving towards the fourth step, which is getting your unit economics right. See, ultimately, marketing and business boils down to numbers. If your numbers are making sense on paper, then you have a great chance of success. Now, how do you make these numbers work? So here's a very simple way that we use in our model. Let's assume that you spend $1,000 on Google Ads and you get 100 people to click on the ad at $10 a click. If out of those 100 users, 10 people end up filling your query form, so you've got 10 inquiries who might end up buying from you. Out of those 10 queries, if you get one single customer, what is the cost of that customer to you? Let's suppose that your offer or product is worth $5,000. That means for every $1,000 you're spending, you're getting $5,000 in return. This is just a hypothetical example, but this is the unit economics which needs to pan out for you before you can start building on your ad campaign. Once you have this unit economics worked out, launched your ad campaign, it's time to optimize. Figuring out this unit economics and continuously tweaking each part of your marketing campaign, each element of your ad copy, of your landing page, of your Facebook settings, of your Google settings, till you start seeing that cycle where when you're putting $1 in, you're getting $2 out, you're getting $3 out. That is when you've hit the jackpot. Because at that stage is when you can start scaling, which is step number 5. Step number 5 is essentially building a good backend, automating your entire system to email marketing, to content generation, and continuously, consistently scaling up your campaign so that tomorrow, if you're spending $10,000 on your ad campaign, you're getting 20, 30, 40 of your ad campaign. In a nutshell, is what this 5-step marketing system is all about. Might sound simple, but we've used this again and again and again successfully for scaling several campaigns in niches like education, e-commerce, technology, services, coaches, consultants. Pretty much any and every niche that you can think of benefit massively from using this simple funnel. That's all for today, folks. See you in the next video. If you like this, do drop in some comments below, which I would love to answer.